biggest boss image just cracked, and suddenly, nothing about Rick Ross feels untouchable anymore. The man who built an empire on luxury, private jets, and larger-than-life power is now being questioned in ways we haven't seen before. And the timing? It's not random, it's not coincidence. It feels like a pattern slowly exposing itself piece by piece.
A quick Google search says that your net worth is $150 million. Is that accurate?
They said it, duh. Glory though, morning glory. What it is, Monday morning? Yeah. What we doing today? How we turning up? What new money we talking about?
Ross has just always been one of my favorite rappers ever.
I've never seen someone ice rosé, but...
You've never seen someone ice rosé? I've talked to every jeweler in Miami that has fake diamonds.
Really, they do that?
Nobody got that job.
The rapper who once made wealth look effortless is now trending for moments that don't match that image at all. And people are noticing, not quietly either. Loudly, aggressively, almost like they've been waiting for this moment to finally ask the question no one dared to ask before. Was it all exactly what it seemed?
Figures, how'd you get there?
It's called hustling nonstop. I have 25 ventures and partnerships. Just got back from Dubai. I'm going to Canada Friday. Tonight we in the club out here in the strip club. We performing. Itself will cover all my expenses for the year. It's just that consistent, nonstop balance.
You're only flying private, huh?
I told myself I would not charter a jet until I was ready to buy it. But I told myself, and I waited those 20 plus years.
Right.
And when it was time for me, it was an investment.
It's also on the internet, Rick Ross is currently going viral because he was caught hiding while waiting for a commercial flight. And this is so wild framing because you could never catch me hiding while waiting for a commercial flight. You just saw me at the airport.
First came the Drake situation, a diss, then tension, then suddenly confrontation, and not the controlled, calculated type either. This was messy, public, unpredictable, the kind of moment that doesn't just disappear after headlines fade. It lingers, it sticks, it creates doubt. Back up.
Damn, white boy, Kendrick done bust you in the head before y'all even finish the publishing splits.
And then things got stranger. Discounted tickets, half off. That alone might sound small, but in the world of image especially, an image built on dominance, small cracks feel like earthquakes. Because why would someone at that level need to do that? Why now? Then came the moment that really shifted everything. Cameras caught him boarding a commercial flight. Hood up, low profile. Almost like he didn't want to be seen. But of course, he was seen. And instantly, the internet exploded. Because this is the same Rick Ross who spent years showing off private jets, champagne lifestyles, endless wealth. So now the question isn't just curiosity, it's suspicion. Is Rick Ross really running out of money, or is something else happening behind the scenes? He says the jet is being upgraded. $500,000 Wi-Fi system. That's the explanation. And sure, on paper, it sounds reasonable. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. When your brand is built on perfection, even a normal situation starts to look like a contradiction. And contradictions, they invite questions.
Is it common knowledge that you mow your own lawn?
I think everybody in Fayetteville, they kind of know when the weather's right and they see that big tractor out there.
You
got the tractor?
You're mowing your lawn.
Like a John Deere or something like that?
One time for John Deere.
Look at it. What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass?
Got the one with the radio, the AC in it. I tinted the windows.
How many acres you mowing?
Man, I'm not even sure now. I believe close to 400. When I go out and mow the lawn, I had the homies with me too.
You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh? The AC broken in the...
So we got a bunch of other smaller tractors. So when they see the big one out, they know that's the boss.
Dude, that's the friendship I aspire to have.
No, that's
all
a
your
friendship.
homies on the weekend, like, yo, what y'all
Yeah,
doing?
let's cut the grass. No, that's some of the coolest shit ever.
But to understand why this moment feels so explosive, you have to go back, way back, before the Maybachs, before the mansion, before the image was carefully constructed. There was William Roberts, a football player, Albany State University, scholarship, focused, disciplined, a completely different life from the one we know today. And at first glance, nothing about that story feels unusual. Plenty of rappers have athletic pasts.
Think all day at that point you had to be a top, with some stunners out here, a top football player in the country.
Yeah. So who's all recruiting you?
everybody.
But then, the timeline starts shifting. Stories begin changing. Details don't quite line up the same way twice. And suddenly, what once sounded like a simple background starts to feel like something else entirely. Because for years, there's been one question that just refuses to disappear. What really happened in the mid-1990s? And more importantly, why does this story keep changing? One of the loudest voices pushing that question? 50 Cent, over and over again, bringing it up, highlighting old reports, even referencing interviews tied to Ross's past, not letting it fade, not letting it rest. And eventually, something surfaced that changed everything.
Question: did you know Rick while he was working in law enforcement?
He was a correction officer.
So we're clear he was a correctional officer?
Yes, he was.
A corrections officer, not rumor, not speculation. Records, reports, and then the photo. That photo. A 19-year-old William Roberts in uniform, smiling, calm, completely different from the image fans had come to believe. That moment didn't just create headlines, it created a fracture, because the persona the biggest boss was built on something else entirely, and suddenly, fans were forced to reconcile two versions of the same person. Ross doesn't deny it anymore, but his version? Only 4 months. Late often, not serious. But the records? They say something else. 18 months. Strong attendance. Consistency. A completely different narrative. And that gap, that difference between what was said and what was documented, never really closed. It stayed there, quiet, waiting, until moments like now bring everything back to the surface. Because when the present starts looking shaky, people go back to the past. And now, with Drake watching, with 50 Cent commenting, with the internet dissecting every move, the question isn't just about money anymore. It's about the entire story and whether the image we believed was ever fully real. And just when you think the cracks couldn't spread any further, everything circles back to Drake. Because this isn't just a disagreement. It's not even just a feud. It feels like a dismantling slow, public, and painfully visible. For over a decade, Drake and Rick Ross weren't just collaborators. They were a formula, a guaranteed moment. Every time their names appeared together, it meant something big was coming. Hit records, massive streams, cultural impact. And behind all of that, respect. Real respect. At least, that's what everyone believed. But belief doesn't always survive reality. Because less than 3 months after publicly showing love to Drake, everything flipped. Completely no warning, no buildup, just a sudden shift that felt too sharp to ignore. 1 minute, it's admiration. The next, it's silence. Then unfollows. Then subtle moves that didn't feel subtle at all. And then came the moment that changed everything. Rick Ross appearing on We Don't Trust You. Not just any track list, not just any album. The exact project that ignited one of the most explosive rap rivalries in recent memory. And Ross wasn't just present, he was positioned. That's when people started connecting dots. Fast, because loyalty in hip-hop, it doesn't just disappear quietly, it breaks loudly. And this break, it echoed. Drake noticed. Of course he did. And when Drake responds, it's never random. Every line feels calculated, every jab layered. And when push-ups dropped, it wasn't just a diss, it was a reminder of who helped build what, a reminder that many of Rick Ross's biggest moments had Drake attached to them. That's not a small detail, that's a pressure point. And Ross didn't stay quiet. He couldn't. Champagne Moments wasn't just a response, it was personal. Ghostwriting accusations, comments about appearance, claims about betrayal, and then that one line that shifted everything into a different territory, deeper than rap. Deeper than rap? That's where things stop being entertainment and start feeling like something else entirely. Because when you say it's deeper than rap, you're hinting at things the public doesn't fully see. Conversations behind closed doors, moves that don't make headlines, tensions that don't need lyrics to exist. And suddenly, the feud isn't just about music anymore. It's about perception, power, control. Then the internet did what it always does. It dug, it amplified, it connected everything. Tia Kemp's comments resurfaced. Old relationships became new talking points. Even Christina Mackey's posts started getting dissected like evidence in a case no one fully understands but everyone wants to solve. Every post became a clue. Every silence became suspicious. And just when it felt like things might settle, they escalated again. The Vancouver incident, a performance, a song choice. Kendrick Lamar is not like us playing in Drake's city. That alone was enough to spark tension. But what followed? That's what turned it into something else entirely. Confrontation, chaos, security stepping in, someone getting knocked out. And suddenly, this wasn't just online anymore. This was real. Physical, uncontrolled, the clip spread everywhere. Millions of views, opinions forming instantly. And the narrative? It wasn't kind. Because for someone whose image was built on dominance, being caught in a moment like that shifts perception in ways that are hard to reverse. Then came the reactions. Drake liking posts, subtle but intentional. 50 Cent jumping in, adding fuel exactly where it would burn the most. The same 50 Cent who had been questioning Ross's story for years, now watching it all unfold in real time. And then the irony hit. Rick Ross warning Drake about his jet, calling it old, telling him to be safe, almost like a casual jab, almost like nothing serious. But days later, Rick Ross's own jet makes an emergency landing. Not rumor, not speculation, headlines, photos, real footage. And the internet didn't hesitate. Because timing like that, it doesn't go unnoticed. It gets turned into narrative, into symbolism, into something bigger than the event itself. Ross laughed it off, made jokes, kept the tone light, but the attention didn't fade. It intensified, because now everything felt connected. The commercial flight, the ticket discounts, the weaker album performance, the delayed release, the feud, the confrontation, the jet incident. Individually, maybe explainable. Together, they start to look like a pattern, and patterns make people uncomfortable because they suggest something isn't random. They suggest something is shifting. And that's the real tension sitting underneath all of this. Not whether Rick Ross is broke, not whether Drake won, not even who said what. It's whether the biggest boss image, the one built over decades, is starting to collapse under its own weight. Because once people start questioning the image, they don't stop. They go deeper. They revisit everything. And the most dangerous part? There's no clear ending yet. Because this story, it still feels like it's unfolding.